Hello Sun Friends and welcome to a new video. I'm meeting Joy today, if you're wondering which Joy. Joy shook up the music industry as a little kid because she released a song that went viral like nothing else. I would say that might have even been the first viral song. That's why I'll just say one thing. I'm Hey Aaron, the little crocodile. Because I was wondering what is actually My dear friends, Joy Schnappi is here with me now. Thank you for coming and for bringing the sausage.
Yes, this is little Andreas.
He's named after my dad. Now, in this show, I meet people who really made a difference in the past or had a huge hype. How long ago was Schnappi?
20 years, actually. December 6th marks the 20th anniversary.
How did it even come about?
I've always been in the studio. I grew up there. My aunt has always made music, and she also produced for Felix the Rabbit, if you know that.
Okay.
And here a verse, there a verse, and the older kids were always allowed to sing alone, sometimes even a whole song. And then I said, Iris, I would also like to have a song just for myself. And then Schnappi actually came along, and I was about 5, almost 5, you could say. And then I sang it in the studio, and then 5 years later, someone, well, it was released back then on her own children's songs album, and also on the Sendung mit der Maus album. We suspect that someone discovered it there and then requested it on the radio. And then everything took its course.
That's how you became famous back then, not like here on RTL2 or something.
Schnee, schna, schnappi, 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 schnapp. Schnee, schna, schnappi, 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 schnapp.
And then it was like, okay, you sang that one. Hey, I'm Schnappi, the little crocodile. And then you just said 5 years later. That means it was just lying around somehow.
Exactly.
And then there was a bang. Well, you have to think about it. You were 5 when you recorded, then you were 10. That's quite a bit of time. How was that communicated to you, Joy, 5 years ago? Do you remember?
Yes, that was quite funny. We were on a family trip in the Netherlands. That was in the summer of 2004, and then he came back, and Iris, my aunt, worked at Westdeutscher Rundfunk. Her colleagues mentioned it to her, saying, Iris, didn't you once make a song with Schnappi? Google it.
Back then it was
a big hit.
A new invention.
None of this existed before, and then Iris Googled it and came across thousands of pages, some forums where people were discussing it, where it had already been uploaded as an MP4, where it was played during the breaks at Wacken Open Air by the Rockers. You can't imagine it. It was really crazy. Yeah, and then the question was, what do we do with it now? So either it was going to be a hit or a flop, but it was kind of what people wanted. So we said, no, let's go all in. And then we developed the character and so on.
How many CDs did you sell?
My last estimate was 1.6, but it could be higher. I'm not sure.
Wow, that was back in a time, for those who don't remember, when you would go into MediaMarkt or Saturn, then there were the displays, and then you would look for it.
There was a display stand, a Schnappi display stand, and then you could just grab a CD from there.
You just said that you were considering going all in, so then you went all in. When did you realize that it was actually working?
Yeah, at the latest, after it was released on December 6th, 2004, I mean the single.
It's nice that you remember the date so well.
Yeah, that's my birthday. Yeah, exactly. That's why I can say it so precisely now.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually pretty funny. So Iris suggested back then, let's take the 6th of December, since Joy's birthday is on that day too. And yeah, and that's how it happened. And then I think actually in January or February of the following year, it went to #1. So it happened pretty quickly.
I remember, I think I heard it for the first time when I was 15, 16, maybe 14 at the time, Agro Berlin. That's when Bushido and everyone came out. And back then, as a little kid, somehow Bushido went to Universal and someone said, hey Bushido, you're the next Schnappi, they've got another new edition. He somehow got worked up about it, but in a humorous way. Did you have the problem that a lot of people didn't take you seriously?
Of course, definitely. Although I really mean that more in terms of the genre of the song, not so much personally or anything like that, but of course it's still intense. I mean, there are people who have been making music their whole lives and are successful in the charts. And then suddenly a little kid comes along with a children's song and steals your chart position. That had never happened before. And yes, of course, sometimes people laughed at it a little, but oh well.
Do you remember when your first performance was? Because back then you were probably passed around everywhere, waving to everyone.
That sounds terrible, no. I wasn't exactly passed around, but I did experience a lot.
So, what did you experience?
Well, I think my first real interview appearance was back then on Johannes B. Kerner's show.
No.
Yes, in Hamburg. I still remember that. That was really cool because I went straight from school. We went to Hamburg and then we spent a weekend there and it was really lovely. Exactly, and then I think the first performance with a show was at Top of the Pops in Cologne. I was there more than once, I think 2 or even 3 times with Schnappi or later with Lama as well.
Top of the Pops without Tillman.
Exactly.
It was always the one where the first one at the end did the outro and said, now comes number 1.
Exactly.
Ole, I know Ole Tillman personally. He used to be on Unterruns, then did hosting. Now I know what he does for a living. I've invited him to visit, but he's reluctant. His link is in the video description. Please reach out and encourage Ole to come by. What he's doing right now is incredible. But okay, then you were at Top of the Pop off Tragines, like everyone was performing at that time. Who else was around with you back then?
Gwen Stefani was at Top of the Pops. Yeah, I won't forget that either. I actually didn't get an autograph from her either. I didn't dare to.
Was she relaxed backstage?
No, she was tottering in front of me on those heels basically with her dancer and team and all. Who else was there back then? New Pagadi, they were number 1 back then too.
I'm nitroglycerin. I put out fire with gasoline. Sweet as poison.
Yes, that's right, exactly.
Were you in the Bravo?
I was in the Bravo.
Top of the Pop?
Exactly. There was also Starflash back then, Popcorn.
The Dome?
I was at the Dome too. I think I was even there twice. And that was really amazing because when I came out, the whole arena was screaming just like Andreas was just now. That was totally crazy. I remember it very well.
The Dome was, for everyone, it was a concert in an arena. There were easily 8,000 to 10,000 people there.
Maybe even 15,000.
Wow. Echo, do you have this beautiful heavy award? I do. Will you show it to me?
I'll show it to you in my sacred home. I'll come with you. I'd love to.
Joy, there it is. Now I have to ask right away, may I touch the Echo just once?
Of course, go ahead.
Back then, in 2005, it was really worth something. You have to say people wanted, that's, wow.
For the download in 2005.
2005 download?
Yes, I think that was also the first Echo that was ever awarded for the download category because it was still totally new back then.
Back then, for everyone watching now, download, Spotify, none of that existed. In 2005, I was 16 and I always went over to the internet cafe, so I didn't download at home because they always said I'd get in trouble. So I always went to the internet cafe with my MP3 player and downloaded music illegally there. That was something special.
I decorated just for you today.
Nice decoration. Are you 4 or 5 in this picture?
Yes.
Little Hobbit.
Yes.
And what else?
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus.
Good zoom, good camera work. Yes.
Then show us the studio. Do you want it with my voice or without?
With your voice?
Now someone is talking to you through the headphones, right?
I always had Iris's voice in my ears. And then I kind of sang along with it.
I come from Egypt, located on the Nile.
First,
I wake up in an egg. Then I snapped myself free. Snip, snap, snappy, 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 snap.
oh, how cute. What I think is cool is that Starflash probably doesn't even exist anymore. So first, let's take a look.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. Yes.
You got something for Euro 2.40?
That was very affordable. Look, even with a wallet, yes.
As kids, we used to steal stuff from the kiosk, taking it off Bravo magazine and everything.
Yeah.
I have to ask, how often do people see you and say, are you Schnappi?
Not at all.
I would also rather say that's funny loops coming up, but it's like, oh, OC California was always there. I feel old seeing Misha Barton now. I cried so much when she died in that car accident. I guess it's okay to spoil it years later. I cried during the car accident. There is your aunt. Who said, wear a fishing hat?
So that was actually part of the outfit, so I could still enjoy a bit of privacy for myself. People basically always associated me with the hat. And when I didn't wear the hat in private, people didn't immediately recognize me. That's why it always gave me a bit of privacy.
That's how newspapers are. Here it's Schnappi, there it's New Pagodi. So sorry. How is it actually for you? I mean, it's been a year or two now. Let's say you're on Tinder now. Yeah, we match on Tinder now.
Okay.
Yeah, we both swiped right, or on Lovoo, wherever people do that these days. And we have a match. When do you tell someone about that?
Wow, that really totally depends. I'll surely mention it sometime.
Yes.
But that's also kind of part of a story because it's just a part of who I am. Sometimes during a conversation, a memory from 20 years ago suddenly comes to mind. When I try to tell a story, I often realize there's a minor detail I forgot to mention. And then I say it.
And how do people react? Like, wow, I wouldn't have thought that.
So most people are just like, okay, yeah, that's really crazy, like, cool. And they're totally, like, they're actually always positive.
Nice. If you put yourself back in the shoes of little Joy, who went viral back then, and compare it to today, let's say you had an Instagram profile, your parents managed it and all, but you still checked it sometimes, and someone wrote something like, Joy is dumb, or something like that. Would you know, could you say what that would have done to you back then?
Well, back then people just said it to my face directly.
Did someone ever say you're stupid?
No, I mean, maybe not in those exact words, but of course, at school and so on, you do get all kinds of unfiltered comments and things like that.
What kind of things did they say?
Oh, I don't know, like that I'm conceited or something like that. Well, roughly speaking, it was kind of heading towards bullying, but not in a dramatic way. Well, I've always kind of shielded myself from it, or I also got support from home, like my mum prepared me and said, Joy, something happened to you that just didn't happen to others, and that's why things are a bit different now. But you shouldn't let that bother you at all. Everything is fine, there's nothing wrong with you, and those will be jealous people, those will be envious people, and you can be really proud of yourself. So just let it go in one ear and out the other. That was always kind of how I dealt with it or handled it. And I think nowadays, maybe that wouldn't have been shown to me so openly. Look, Joy, someone commented under your video again saying they think the song is crap or something. Because those people existed too. I'm definitely aware of that. But I don't think it really makes a difference whether it was on social media or just something I heard directly from people around me back then.
Did it change you?
It definitely affected me. Especially in the sense that I grew up with people always wanting to put me in a box. And of course, I first had to find a way to deal with that because, you know, the label that was put on me, like, look, there's the super rich child star and who knows, maybe she arrives in a private jet. That never happened. But just to exaggerate, that's what people expected of me in some way, or at least that's what I picked up on. And, you know, just always standing my ground and living my normal everyday life, going to school, I kind of grew into that, grew out of it, and especially nowadays, I've really grown from it. So by now, I can really look back on it with a lot of reflection and say that everything is okay. But yeah, you definitely have to go through that first.
If I ask now, what did the money bring with it? So, of course, there were a lot of things. What also needs to be explained is, which label was it? Universal?
Yes.
They get a cut. I mean, everyone gets a piece of the pie.
Right. I mean, of course, I'm not on my own, and that's always been the case. If you come from that industry, you know that. Classmates assume she earned €1 per record sold, given her 1.6 million sales. That's the common misconception. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
But that's the typical way people calculate it.
Yeah, let's go now.
You got 1 million views, €1 per view.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe you can relate to that. But of course, I didn't walk away empty-handed. I definitely got something out of it. But yeah, I still had a normal upbringing. And that was never an issue for me. I must honestly say I was never interested in that. I didn't understand it at all when I was 9 either. When asked about my allowance at 9, I don't think I got any official allowance then. That came much later. And I never understood all this interest in money when I was 9 because I just didn't care about it at all myself. I just enjoyed it, I had fun doing it, and I never questioned it, really, not at all. The association with Schnappi only came much later, after being frequently asked about it and recognized as the one from Schnappi. It was just so awkward. I mean, how much money did you make?
Sorry to my viewers, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but that's just how it is. It's really awkward, and when you grow up with that, that's always much more interesting than you yourself, obviously, you know. So for me, it just has a much higher emotional value than anything money could ever buy, you know. So that's why I always found it a bit sad that everyone was always so interested in that, and I never thought it was important at all.
So there was 9-year-old Joy running around with her fishing hat, and people would come right up and ask the 9-year-old, so what does Amex or Visa say?
Yeah, exactly like that. And I said, Mom, what does that mean?
What were your thoughts when attending performances? Were you invited, or did you go on your own initiative? You agreed to go. Was it clear in your childish mind that you were getting something in return for your work?
No.
Or did you think it would be cool to go there since Scooter would be there too?
Yeah, right, exactly. And maybe I can take 5 more autograph cards with me. Great. So it was really just that. I honestly didn't question it. You have to imagine.
I'm just thinking.
As a child, you possess a healthy naivety that allows you to believe in essentially everything.
You're rich if you have a bag of chocobons, 2 bags of chocobons, then you're rich.
Exactly, and I just really enjoyed flying there. I flew a lot. It was super exciting back then. Like I said, I collected my autograph cards. I always wore cool outfits, and that was just way more exciting for me than thinking about whether I made a euro from it or not. You just don't think about that.
As a kid, you don't realize if you're missing a euro. My child is at that age now. When I give him a euro, he thinks he's on top of the world.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how it is. I also thought I owned the world whenever I got one more autograph, you know? And that's just how it was. That was basically my currency.
Then after Schnappi, which is so legendary, there was also a llama in Yokohama.
Hello, you llama in Yokohama.
And at some point you said, you know, music, I don't want to do it anymore. Why?
What does I don't want to do it anymore mean? From the start, it was clear to us that Schnappi was a one-hit wonder. So there's really nothing to discuss about that. That's just how it is. And even the llama wasn't really meant to create the same kind of hype. But that's just how it's done. Well, we also produced an album and everything. Llama's success was remarkable, even charting in the music rankings. I've always had a blast singing in the studio ever since I was a little kid. It's consistently been the time of my life. But it was really clear that this big hype would only happen once.
What was that like for you as a kid? I mean, everyone's saying, you, the sensation, you only make it big once.
Actually, I experienced that in Salzburg at the Dome, and I will never forget it. I think I was there with Iris in the morning, maybe at breakfast or something. And then Iris already said, Joy, you have to realize that it won't always be like this, that we'll be walking down red carpets, collecting and giving out autographs, having performances, and traveling so much. And that's really nice for now, but at some point it will be a bit less again, and you shouldn't be sad about that. I asked if I would be allowed to sing anymore. She said, of course you can always sing. I replied, okay, then I don't mind at all.
Oh, that's nice.
So for me, one thing was never the same as the other. So I really just did what I felt like doing. And for me, that wasn't like, it didn't exclude anything or anything like that. And that's why.
Do you still sing?
Yes, but just for myself.
But then, in that sense, it's not really that you left the media industry because Bill pushed you onto the red carpet, but rather... Off the red carpet. Yes, off the red carpet, exactly. It just kind of fizzled out.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it was fine for you?
Then it was totally fine for me, yeah.
So Joy, we've already covered a lot here. How you became Schnappi, how it all happened. At some point it was over. But if we were to meet now we're having a date here. How would you introduce yourself, like in front of someone?
Yeah, hi, I'm Joy.
Yeah, how old are you now?
I'll be 29 in December.
Taken or single?
Single, but I have a dog.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you do for a living? How do you make your money?
Yeah, so after graduating from high school, I actually did an apprenticeship as a carpenter. Yeah, 3 years of training, and yeah.
Really? You could build something like this for me?
I can build something like that for you, yes?
I'm actually traveling for my craft. Can you also make something like a...
Dovetail joint, yes.
Exactly, look, did they show you that in vocational school too? We're going to do...
Yes, of course. You really have to saw by hand and chisel it out, and yes.
So that means you finished high school. That was, when did you finish high school?
2014.
Okay, then you did your apprenticeship until 2017.
Exactly.
And what have you been up to for the last 8 years?
Then I worked for another year at the carpentry shop where I did my apprenticeship. There I specialized in surface treatment, like painting, everything related to surface finishing in that field. Everything related to processing, exactly. And then I started my studies in 2018 here in Düsseldorf as well. There I did my bachelor's in architecture and urban planning. Although at our university it's also focused on interior architecture. So in the bachelor's program we basically covered both areas somehow. Then in 2022 I continued with my master's in interior architecture.
Okay, so as a Berliner, that means you could make the old Tegel airport look nice, and you could have planned and built the new one faster.
Well, I don't know about faster, but I mean, what happened there really is a disaster. But yes, so basically I would say yes.
There was once the myth, so I have the format, and then I thought about who we could meet. Greetings to Pascal. Schnappi was his idea. He also sent me your Instagram. Look here. Yes, Pascal. And somehow there was once the rumor that you gave up music, that you don't like this whole industry.
Yes, well, there was a very sensational article in the newspaper with 4 letters.
Oh, the Bild? Never?
Schnappi ate my childhood.
Typical Bild.
I mean, you have to give her that. The headline was definitely a banger, but of course it had absolutely no substance. So actually, of course, I think I was 14 or 15 at the time. I was, of course, asked, would you do it again? I said no, I'm almost a teenager now and it doesn't suit me anymore. I wouldn't do it. Well, I sang that children's song when I was really little, and at some point I thought it was uncool, at least for me personally, as far as the music industry or whatever goes. And of course, it got twisted a bit to sound like I would never do it again or that I totally regret it, but that's not true. No, I don't regret any of it. On the contrary, I can now, or I'm really glad that by now I can look back on it in a completely different way and really appreciate it all. And I'm also aware of how special it actually was.
You have an echo.
I have an echo, of course. I have double platinum, so that's insane. And for someone who was just thrown into it, where for other people it's really their long-term goal to be so successful in the industry, it just came to me and I'm incredibly grateful for that. But music is still a topic for me. Like I said, I enjoy doing it, so let's see what happens.
You're one of those people now, and I'm really happy because you hear a lot about child stars, and it's great that you're doing so well and that everything is going great. Now imagine I pull the chair back and little Joy, who's 9 years old, is sitting here. What would you say to yourself?
That almost makes me want to cry. That everything is okay and that I really am allowed to enjoy everything and that I shouldn't worry so much later on if some kids are mean or if things come at me from all sides. And that everything is okay. That I can always become exactly what I always wanted and I can be anything I want to be.
That was so nice of you. Thanks! If you enjoyed the video, check out the links in the description. One to Instapro Schnappi and one to yours.
Exactly. Essence of Joy, feel free to follow me.
And of course, I must mention the legendary song with the linked YouTube video. I'm Schnappi. As a children's song, it's a bigger evergreen than Lou Bega's Mambo No. 5 or Ich lieb ihn über alles. Schnappi is a bit above for me, but I could also go visit Lou Bega sometime. Follow Joy for any questions. I hope we answered what you needed today.